Come on in.
I mean, Rhonda, when I walked in here, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, this is everything. Like I said, people like to watch puppy videos to make them feel good.
Yeah.
I think you need to walk into Rhonda's office.
That is so funny. We got to keep the kids motivated and inspired because you know what? It's all going to work itself out in the end because it will. Everyone's going to be employed. Everyone's going to be on the other side of USD. Everyone's going to be successful. It might take a little bit of time, but everyone's going to do it.
What? How did you get here?
Yeah. How did I get here in this space?
Well, the space, and then, what was it like? How did you build upon decorating your office?
Well, here's the truth. This is what my childhood bedroom looked like. This is what my refrigerator looks like. I am somebody who saves and savors things that are given to me. I'm somebody who doesn't want to keep this stuff in a box. If I received it, I'm putting it up. And so what it does is also when students are graduating and leaving USD, they give me a card because they know it's going to go up on the wall. Like it becomes a whole kind of circle of life, which I really appreciate and value.
Well, and I think it says a lot about you. It's like you value, your students. You value these happy moments. You
100%.
Embrace them. And so when you look on the wall, like you said, like it's funny to see, not funny, but like you just kind of probably measure or look at what's drawing the kids.
That's right. Like what catches their eye is really fun to see. But I also recognize that I work in an engineering school. Okay. And sometimes things can be very, very serious. And I want to be a fun, light, kind of counter space in the School of Engineering for you to come in here. Even if you have 10 minutes in between class and you want to sing a song or do a dance or get a snack or what have you, that is my job. And I want to hold that space in this School of Engineering.
Have you always been this way?
100%. Class clown, 8th grade and 12th grade. Okay. I mean, seriously, I've always been this way. I've always worked in STEM. I've always worked in service of students navigating this kind of thing. Oftentimes you're the first in your family to be an engineer, the first in your family to pursue something in STEM. And so I recognize that can be a lonely place when you are a trailblazer. And I have my own personal story of I'm first gen too. I am them in so many ways. And so this is me almost being the person that I wish I had in college. That is how I see my space. That's how I see my role. That's how I see how I engage with students. That's part of my pedagogy and how I coach and counsel. All of that is what would I have wanted when I was a student, and that's what I am here to do.
And when people find out, like, you mean you teach engineering, like this doesn't go with, what your stereotype is of an engineer. My cousin is, and sometimes I'm like,
Yeah. So I've been at USD for 10 years, and the first 8 years of my time here was in career development. So I oversaw career development in the School of Engineering, and then I got my PhD, which is where I studied cultural capital. That's what my dissertation and my research was about. And on the other side of my PhD was an assistant dean role, overseeing student involvement, overseeing student engagement. So when I was in career development, I advised the National Society of Black Engineers, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, the Society of Women Engineers is right next door. And so that was kind of a part of my portfolio before I even moved over to a formal assistant dean role in this beautiful Shiley Marcos School of Engineering. And it's been fun. So this last 2 years is me figuring out, it's a new role. How do we make sure that our students are getting what they need outside of the classroom? College is not just about what you learn in the classroom. And so how do we make sure that they're growing as leaders, that they're growing their communication skills and collaboration skills, and even how to have difficult conversations with peers? How do we make sure that they are also doing that and have support in doing that too? Because when you get a job and when you go into the workplace, you need all of that. I say it all the time. You are not just your major. You are a whole person with a whole lot of skills and gifts and abilities that any employer would value. And so your major and your degree complement who you already are. And so it is important for you to have language and to know how to speak out what those skills are that are in addition to how excellent your degree is. And so that's how I see my job, is to pour into these students and to make sure they know that they are they are needed in the workplace, regardless of background, hardships, all of that. You are enough, and you are needed in the world of work. It's just the truth.
And rather than just capitalizing on your skills in the workforce, you can capitalize on your character and your culture.
100%. That's right. Yeah. So that's what I studied in my PhD, is something called cultural capital. When we think of capital and when we think of wealth, we think of economic wealth. And to me, and in my research displayed this, but to me, we are all full of wealth. We all have capital. It's all in how you choose to see it. All the hardships, all the challenges, you could see it as less than, and I feel less than my peers, or you could see it as, I faced some adversity, I got through that, and now if I face that in the world of work, I have skills to navigate environments that might not have been built for me, conversations that I had to have because I was in college and had to do it. Now I know how to have conversations in the future that might be uncomfortable. I mean, the list kind of goes on, but there's so much around how you were raised and how you were brought up and the value you gain from your family, your community, the environments that you were in, the social capital that you gained, the navigational capital of navigating spaces, all of that adds to your portfolio. I tell students all the time, I am outgoing, I'm loud, the way I contribute to a group, I'm not afraid to be the face of an organization, to ask for resources, to present on behalf of my group. I believe I bring positive energy into environments that I'm in. I believe that about myself, but that's not on my resume, but they get that if they hire me. Okay, you get all of me if you hire me. And so how do I make sure that an employer that might be wanting to talk to me knows that in addition to all, my resume speaks for itself, in addition to all that, here's what you get when Rhonda is on your team. But you, the student, or you, the person who's being interviewed, are responsible for telling me, the interviewer, what that is. I can't assume that.
Say, how do you pull that out of these students to help them bring that into the workforce?
Yeah. I think for me, I personally just remind them of these sorts of things all the time. So I mentioned I was in career development before I became an assistant dean, but I still oversee a lot of the career kind of conversations. And so helping students prep for interviews, helping students recognize that those soft skills is what we call it, are very valuable no matter what. I don't care if you have a 4.0 and your GPA is fantastic and all of that. If you don't know how to interview and you don't know how to communicate effectively, that could be a challenge with you getting a job and getting the offer. And so my job is to meet students where they're at. Some students love to talk about themselves. Some students don't. Some students love to tap their network. Some students don't think they have a network. I often go on LinkedIn and say, great, there's 67,000 alum that you can easily find that are in your network right now in the name of USD. Now, it's up to you to reach out. It's up to you to figure out what and how they can support you. But trust and know, and this is what I tell students all the time, when you are gainfully employed, and you're on the other side of this thing called USD, and a little pumpkin pie comes to you and says, I just want to know more about your job. I just want to know more about how you got there. I can guarantee you would give them 30 minutes of your time. These folks would do that for you right now.
Oh, in a heartbeat. If
That's
someone,
right.
Because it's like you have to remind yourself, you were that freshman one
100%.
time, or you were that, graduating senior, so scared to be like, where
That's
am I
right.
going to work? Can I do this? Do I fit in? I don't have the experience.
That's right.
And how did you navigate that?
That's right.
And the sense of not just the skills, but maybe you see someone who may be similar in you.
That's right.
In your upbringing, to be like, how did you navigate
Similar
this?
clubs as your own, all of that. But I will say this, if you reach out to an alum or reach out to an employer, your LinkedIn better be up to date. You need to give words to who are you. You are responsible for that. I tell students all the time, I don't need to know your dream job. I don't need to know your dream position and company. I do need you to know yourself. So if I ask you, which is going to be a question you get, what do you want to do after you graduate? Or why are you even talking to me? You need to have an answer for that. And so, and it can't just be, well, this is my degree, and so you hire my degree. So you have to have more, and you are more, okay? And so I think in college, it's easy to feel less than. I didn't get the grades as somebody else, or I don't have as much in my dorm room as some of my peers do, or I was the only one who moved in, and my peers, their whole families moved them in. There's so many things to look at and think and feel that you're less than, but we're not doing that in Rhonda's office. We keep it asset-based. we keep it focused on what we do have and how do we run in the direction of the things that we already naturally have. And how do we recognize that the things we naturally have can be of service to us in a professional work environment.
What about for some of the students who may not feel comfortable using their culture or their background?
Sure.
You know, like some just feel like what's on paper and what my skills is should be good enough.
Yeah, and I think that's okay too. And you know, I think cultural capital, it's sure you can tap into your some women don't want to be a woman in engineering. I'm just an engineer, right? I am more into understanding that the things that you've had to do can be a source of capital. Regardless of we all have it. Everyone has cultural capital. It's all about, I don't know how you see it and articulate it, but everybody has it for sure. And there's different types of social capital. Familial capital. Do you have a family that's encouraged you and supported you? If you had a family that instilled resilience and determination and teamwork as a part of your family structure, you naturally will take that into a work environment and contribute that to any team that you're on. That's the truth. And so that's a skill. And you could look at your family or you could look at your environment and think, well, we didn't have a lot and we didn't this. But my job, and again, my research is to say we are all wealthy. We all hold capital, every single one of us. It's just a matter of how you choose to see it, talk about it, write about it. And if you don't know how to do that, you can come talk to Rhonda.
You're amazing.
Yeah. It's fun.
It is.
I love it.
It's just like, I think it just gives people a different perspective when you're looking at like the wealth, and it's kind of a personal story. It's just like my husband and I, we both, you know, have two moms that don't have a lot in the terms of like money.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot to pass down to us.
Yeah.
And I told my brother this the other day because he's like, I want to be able to pass something down to, you know. And I said, but you know what, Quinn? I go, Chris and I, our mothers don't have much at all.
Yeah.
But I feel like their love for us has made me so rich.
100%.
And so I've just really reflected on that in the last couple of months of just knowing that like that love just feels richer than any money could ever make.
That's right. And I think once you recognize the capital you do have, or however you choose to lean into that or not, you have a greater appreciation for your family. You have a greater appreciation for what you gained growing up, even the communities that you grew up in, even if they were difficult to navigate. How'd you navigate that? And I can guarantee, however you navigated whatever community you were a part of, contributed to how you navigated USD, which will contribute to how you navigate work politics, how to move up in leadership roles and positions in your next job. Like all of that kind of follows you. And if you're savvy in that sort of way, and again, I want students to recognize that they are absolutely 100% savvy. You don't have to be the loudest voice in the room to be a leader, right? You don't have to be the one standing up and presenting to have contributed to your team. The whole goal is to really acknowledge what you do have. And if you don't know how to do that, talk to your friends. I always tell students, you should always know why people want to be on a team with you and why would somebody not want to be on a team with you. And both of them contribute to yourself. And it's good to kind of know that sort of thing. People want to be on a team with me, as I said. I'm loud, okay? I'm not afraid to present on behalf of a group, all of that. People don't want to be on a team with me. I see the forest before the trees, okay? I'm a big picture idea thinker, but don't ask me to get into the details. That's somebody else's job. You know what I mean? I know that about myself. Yes. And so as I move through the world, I recognize that about myself. But that took a lot of jobs, a lot of supervisors, a lot of performance evaluations. I mean, I recognize that I've lived a life and that's how I know. But for students, they might not know that, but I can guarantee if you ask anybody who's been on a team with you, even if it's a sports team or student org, they can very much tell you what you bring into every space. I can guarantee you that. And they can very much tell you, ooh, when we don't have our things due on time, you feel a way about that. You know, they can very much tell you who you are. And so you have community. And you have people. You certainly do if you are in college and about to graduate and moving on to the next chapter. We all have a network. We all have a community. It's imperative for us to tap that, especially in this world of work today. You got to know people. And we all have people. No doubt about it. And so again, my job is to make sure that students really very much tap, first of all, that they maximize the opportunities that the University of San Diego has for them, but also recognize that they're the bomb. And that any company could value anything that they have to contribute. They just need to feel confident and know what they can contribute, both academically, what they gained inside the classroom, but all the things that they've gained outside of the classroom too. Was that good? Oh my gosh.
I'm going to put this up